Yeah, I'm happy about this. I think there are quite a few people when we draft certain players, you just have that feeling, just that kind of inkling in your gut where you're like, yeah, that was a good draft. And it happens in free agency where you get something, maybe it's a trade, and all of a sudden you just have that feeling where you're like, that dude's going to be a starter one day. He shouldn't be where he was drafted. He shouldn't end up being a starter, but he will be where he was picked up and where we got him from. He shouldn't be a starter. And we're not always right. You're not always right with these things, but sometimes you are. And when you are, it's really, really exciting. So one of those guys this year was Colby Sorsdal for me, tackle and offensive line guru Duke Manyweather shares these sentiments. And this is what's kind of crazy. And honestly, this is what's kind of cool is Duke is sitting here explaining why Colby Sorsdal is going to be a future starter in the NFL. And the way he even responded to it was honestly kind of cool. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share this screen with you. This is an article on Pride of Detroit. And it starts by talking about how Duke's one of just the most respected minds when it comes to offensive line evaluation. He refuses to be called a guru, which is kind of funny, but the dude knows his offensive line. Professionals, college, high school offensive linemen continue to go to him 30, 40, 50 dudes a year. This guy's 36 years old and he just figures it out. So one of the guys that Duke was really, really high on was Lions fifth round pick Colby Sorsdal. And here's what I love. When the tape of the Lions fifth round pick hit his desk, it says he was immediately drawn in by the small school prospect. And then this is what I love. He started to reach out to NFL general managers to see what they knew about him and quickly discovered he was possibly the best kept secret in the class. Scouts had already dismissed William and Mary as a prospectless school, but when Manyweather, Matt, it's not Floyd Mayweather, all right, it's Duke Manyweather. I wonder how many times I said that wrong. Was snooping around Sorsdal. He knew they had missed something. All right. Here's what he had to say. They know when I'm calling or texting and I've got a name for them, they're like, dang, I missed that one. Manyweather told Pride of Detroit. All of a sudden, I started sending clips to GMs and they're like, oh man, we missed him. I'm going to watch him. I'm going to write him up. All right. So what is it? Like, what is it about Sorsdal that made him so good? Like, what was it about him that made him good? And Manyweather had plenty to say. So we're just going to start reading it so you can know exactly what he said. They said he had really great body positioning, leverage, great technique, tremendous footwork. He was very efficient with his movement. He never looked out of control, always finished. Whether he put guys in the ground or not, he just gave an added extra effort. He wasn't challenged as much in pass protection, which I don't care what level you play at. There are going to be times in which you get out of position or somebody gets into your chest, and you just didn't see that with him. You saw above average hand usage, him being able to swat down a long arm, being able to lift up a long arm, being able to trap guys down, being able to refit anchors. This is such a deeper evaluation already than most people would have. This is so much deeper. When he talks already about body positioning, leverage, technique, footwork, we hear things like that. We hear things like he has a good anchor. All right. But when you hear and you talk about, and we hear about hand usage, but being able to swat down a long arm, being able to lift up a long arm, we don't hear that kind of talk much from a national scout. Tom McShay's not talking about that. All right. He also isn't talking about, I don't care which level you play at. There are going to be times where you get out of position. This is why people are better than us at their jobs. They are looking at the feet. Are you in the right position? Are you right in the right position? Not did you get beat? And then when you got beat, how did you get beat? It was looking at every single play, looking at the tape, looking at the hand positioning, looking at the feet positioning, looking what his steps look like right out of the box. Does he have good footwork? Is he able to anchor? Is he able to re-anchor? There is so many things that I think the average fan doesn't understand about offensive line play that a guy like this does. This is invaluable information. All right. Then he said that play strength was something that stuck out to me. It doesn't matter what level you are at. If you are physically dominant, you're always in good positioning, being in good position to recover when you need that or when you need to be is important. That's really what O-line is about in the NFL. Being able to recover. Pause. Being able to recover. Why is offensive line play in the NFL about being able to recover? Because you are playing the best players in the world, the most athletic, the most talented players in the world. You are going to get beat from time to time. You are going to get out of position, not because you even did something wrong, because they're so good, they got you out of position. How do you recover? Are you set up with your footwork that you're going to be able to cover? So here's what he said. So Colby was in position to recover. That what we call be where your feet are, and just his play strength was off the charts for that level. So when I look at those things, that lets me know that the guy's got a chance. And when I met him and I saw his personality, and I saw that he was what he was willing to do and willing to invest and willing to put in, it let me know that, all right, what we saw on tape married with the mental component of it, we've got a player here. This is going to be a pro guy. He went on to talk about how that doesn't mean I'm just going to make him a starter right now, but we know he has the makeup for it. And he's going to be a guy that is absolutely a very understandable starting point. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fact that we may have found a starter. Doesn't necessarily mean it's at tackle, but it might be. We've gone and we've gotten some depth on the offensive line. All right, we have. We've gotten some depth on the offensive line, but at the same time, I think we have to understand that it's not perfect. We have great um, starting depth on our offensive line, and I get that. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be great everywhere else. And when I say everywhere else, I mean in the backup. So I think like when you look at this, and I will pull this up real quick for everyone. Just our offensive line depth, just to show you what I'm talking about. Um, on we have Decker, Jackson, Ragnow, Vaitai, Sewell. Okay, on the back end right now, it's Matt Nelson. We remember what he is good for. Colby Sorsdal, they have him put in at right guard behind Vaitai, Glasgow at center, Logan Stenberg, and then at tackle, our newly acquired Jermaine Ifedi. So that's not bad. Stenberg is not the guy. He proved that. Glasgow is the guy, but he's older. He can absolutely play. Colby Sorsdal could be next. And I don't know if it's at tackle. I don't know if it's at guard. I think it's probably at guard, but he absolutely can be next, and we need to pay attention to it. All right. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment below. Let me know if you think Colby Sorsdal's got that same amount of talent. It was nice to pick him up on the low and quiet. Got to love the work this staff does. All right. We'll see you on the next one.